Going on? How's it going? Hey, just I gotta put my scroller on the bottom. See there? Because we're having a little stream. I wonder if anybody's gonna show up to this. We're probably so sick of me by now. My buddy Andrew Mon said he says maybe I'm overexposed, but I'm trying to keep busy. I'm trying to keep my mind sharp while I wait for my new transition jobs. Right? Hey, MLS God of Law, MLS God of Law. I'd say my kind of lawyer. Yeah. So, hey, Danielle's here. Awesome. See, good. I got big announcements. I got big stuff to tell you about. I've been working on it. These stuff, it just comes, goes and goes. The creative mind. I don't know what am I supposed to do, but I'll tell you about it. And we're gonna have a short stream. I'll promise to be done by 9:05 because we're gonna redirect over to the expert stream. He's got a Friday stream, so we're gonna go party over there, and we're having a party here. Um, Let me see. What can I tell you? What can I? My life is I'm on a roller coaster. I am on a roller coaster, and you're along with me, so you can enjoy the ride with me. But let's see. We got Shane is here. Good to see you, Shane. Dr. D Snuts. He says, classic Steve. I don't tune in for a week and he's already got another book. Right. That's true. MLS Got Law, Danielle, D. Robinson. I'm the dark side. Well, I know. I get it. We'll see. But I'm trying to get, my wife's handling a lot of stuff for me. She's keeping my order together. And Danielle knows, like she knows, like I've got my head in the clouds and I'm doing my thing and I'm stressing and worrying and thinking about the future and what happens if this happens and all the problems of the world. And then my wife, meanwhile, she's keeping everything kind of like keeping it going, right? And so what am I trying to do? Well, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with myself? I've got little goals I'm supposed to be packing. So I've got all my DVDs packed, all my CDs packed. Now I'm working on packing my library, which is huge. I've got a huge library. And it's so many books. And then once I get that, that's kind of like, that's the big stuff that I got to do. And then it's a matter of just every other stuff like furniture and just stuff that you collect over your lifetime, right? So that's going to be like, then it's just a matter of organization. So we can do that. But right now I'm on the bookshelves. See how I've got all of my CDs? Now if you see, they're in little handy dandy containers. And then these are my DVDs, CDs. Boy, packing sucks. And all this is going to go into storage. My entire library going into storage. Kind of sad. I love my library. I love my CDs. I love my DVDs. I like them. I like this around. I got art and guitars. Too much stuff. How did I collect so much stuff? But I can't really get rid of any of it. It's all good stuff. Anyways, enough complaining. I'll just have to pay a storage unit to sack it away for some time. But while I'm doing that, I got to occupy my mind. I got to think about something else to do to keep my brain occupied. And I've got I've written so much, I've done so much, and I've got so much kind of in the vaults. And I was organizing a lot of my files on my computer, and I thought about this document that I've worked on. Since I've been at the Public Defender's Appellate Office, I created a document called Great Quotes. And I would just, whenever I'd come across something that I thought was really inspirational, whether in the news or in philosophy, Steve Hayward, or I'd read it or something, I'd come across something, I would say, oh, that's really good. I'm going to save that. And so I'd clip it and drop it into my Great Quotes. Sometimes it's biblical quotes. Sometimes it's Richard Weaver or Winston Churchill. Anyways, yeah. So we're working on Tuesday. We're going to go and we're going to finalize the apartment search. We've got a line on a few of them, but we're working on it. Thank you for thinking. That's a big one. Got to get an apartment. Yes, packing. Tennessee. You don't know how much stuff I got. It's so much stuff. Ugh. Anyways, so I had this over the last 14 years at the public defender's office. I've just compiled quotes, and this document got to be quite big. And occasionally I'd go through it, and so I looked at this thing, and I was like, you know what? That's a pretty cool document. It's pretty cool. I'm going to see if I can organize it. So I took this document of great quotes, and I put it together, and I organized it into a book. Now, what I've spent the last few days doing is taking it, organizing it, putting some structure around it, and then creating a coherent book of great quotes, and then citating it, right? Citating it, right? So here, let me show you. I'll give you a little insight here. I'll show you what it looks like when I've came up with. Let me see, present, share screen. Oh, here we go. Okay, can you see that? Okay, there we go. So there we go. We'll go to shop, great quotes down at the bottom there. Or if you go to home, see it's down here. There it is right there. There's my great quotes. Great quotes on law, faith, and life. Look at that. It's available for pre-order autographed copy. Right? Hey, law of self-defense, man. Are you on a plane? Andrew Branca of Law of Self-Defense, one of the biggest supporters of all things Gosney, and my buddy. I will say he is my buddy. I think he's on a plane, so he's texting from the plane. How cool is that? Yeah, so I got this. So I've created, yes, he is on a plane. So we got Law of Self-Defense on a plane. Good to see you, my friend. I put a little comment on his chat. I said, what should he be doing for the next hour? I said, come on Gosney's show. But he's like, I'm on a plane. Yeah, he wanted me to put in there, appeals are for losers. Appeals are for losers. Whoops. Appeals are for losers. But I don't know who actually said that. Danielle says hello. Oh, and David Nelson's here. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So we have in-flight streaming. How cool is that? So anyway, here's my newest book. It's called Great Quotes on Law, Faith, and Life. That's what it is. And so here's the back cover. It says there are many compendiums of books with quotations, but this one is more personal. I find these quotes to be especially meaningful. There is no order to the quotes. Instead, I try to organize them into subject matters. So here's my subject matters for the quotes. It is law and tyranny, politics, faith, ethics, life and love, reason, economics, conflict, and truth. I then put the quotes in an order which I thought they meaningfully flow. So I was thinking about doing them in date order, but you know what? Instead, I kind of organized them in sort of a way that you could read them and ponder on them. It's interesting, as I was working on these citations, how spread out over history these quotes arise and how they hold together coherently. This is a testament to their truth, methinks. Many of my favorite thinkers are here. Thomas Sowell, Winston Churchill, Jordan Peterson, Edmund Burke, Ayn Rand, Thomas Sowell. Oh, Thomas Sowell is twice. Justice Robert Jackson and Richard Reaver, to name a few. There are important thoughts here. Wisdom written down may aid us when we are in turmoil. This is not fast food. Savor each taste. So that's the okay. MLS has got to go to dinner. Good to see you. Chuck Jr., I love your posts. I saw your beautiful picture with your wife in Texas. Nice. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So here's my my new book. It's going to be small. It's 10,000 words, about 75 pages. Great quotes on law, faith, and life. So these are the idea is that you just meditate. Now it's all basically my selections. Chuck Jr., Law of Self-Defense, turkey bacon are for losers. That's pretty funny. So this is just kind of my meditations on quotes that I find helpful, that I find interesting. Okay. Not so much Yes, Lily. Yes, we got a new book. You got to pay attention. You got to catch up. All right, you got to catch up. And I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe what the future may hold here, because I got to keep my brain occupied. Look at Andrew. You just love this. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Appeals for Losers, created by me, Steve. No, that's an old tripe. What I could do is I could put Appeals are for Losers attributed to Andrew Bronca Law Self-Defense. How's that? And here's my problem with certain legal commentators that are in the web that are advising certain people about certain things, is that they're trying to fight all these major legal battles in the courts with their clients. Okay, that is not the way to do criminal defense. Criminal defense, you got to look at your client, what's in their interest in the law as it exists. And I understand, I don't believe in the system at all. I think there's major problems in the criminal, as we are seeing in some cases that are out there today. There's major problems in the criminal justice, and there are big battles to be fought, and there's great trends that need to be. But when you're talking about an individual client, those grand battles are not to be fought by you necessarily. You can preserve them, you can fight them for a later day, but those things. The first job is to win the case. If you lose the case, then appeals are for losers, because then it's like, okay, now I'm going to fight this big battle in appellate court and probably lose. Amateurs argue the law as they'd like it to be. Professionals argue the law as it actually is. Perfect. Exactly. See, Andrew knows. And see, Shane, he's been reading Ideas and Answers in Law, and he knows 0.6. That's 6 out of 1,000 appeals are won. He wins the gold cup. Yes. So this is a problem with people who are philosophical about the law. And like myself, I'm philosophical, but I'm also I'm also a criminal trial lawyer. And I recognize that I can fight my battle, and I can fight those battles and argue, but ultimately you want to get the best result for your client. And so you're not serving your client if you're pushing your ideology ahead of your client, and this is a problem. So let me show you. I'll give you a little sneak peek at the book, the new book, which is somewhere around here. Let me see if I can find it. Nope, gotta do it over here. Let's see here. No, that's not going to work. How do I get this up? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me see it. Present. Share screen. There it is. See that? Yeah, okay. So I'll give you a little sneak peek about what it is. All right, so here it is. And so what this is, it seems like it came together really quick, and it did. It did. But so here it is. What is this book, Gosney? But I've been accumulating these for about 14 years, and this document existed. What it did not have is it did not have the precision of citation. And it's funny because a couple things that I came across that I thought I had good quotes, when I really tracked it down, really tried to cite it, did not hold up under scrutiny. So I either deleted it or found the proper citation. Now, here's some other editing tips that I did for it. So I'm dedicating this to my friends at Washington and Lee, Derek Brooks, Mariah Casey, and Chris Watson, and their extended families. So we'll see. What's this book? Chuck Jr. Okay, we might have that quote. See, people, here's Chuck. He's got a quote here. We'll talk about that, because that's based on a quote that I have in here. Because a lot of these things you've heard, but you may not know exactly where they come from. So I want to give you exact quotes from pinpoint sources, from who exactly said them, and the most credible, so you can cite them in your legal briefs. So this document I've been working on for 14 years. Now, the last few days, I've put it together. I've organized it. I've assembled it into chapters. I organized it into so it has sort of a narrative flow. It's not in date order or any particular order, other than I like the way that it reads. Each quote kind of gets you. And what I want you to do is read each quote, and just think about it. It's made to get you thinking about these topics. All right. So Like, how do you like this Chesterton quote? So this has to do with Miami trip. As G.K. Chesterton stated, an adventure is only an inconvenience rightly considered. An inconvenience is only an adventure wrongly considered. That's pretty good, huh? So pretty cool. This is a short book. It's only 10,000 words, 75 pages. So what was that? What was that, Chuck? So here's Law and Tyranny. Here's a John Locke quote. Here, you know what I got to do is I gotta take this down. Hold on a second. All right, because I'm going to find the quote that Chuck Jr. is citing to. You can't reform a system, the system reflects the people. Okay. I think that's John Adams, so I'm going to find it. I'll just look for find Adams. Here we go. Okay, so Chuck, you got your pencil out? You're going to get the exact quote as stated by John Adams and the source. How cool is this? Are you ready? This is for you, Chuck. Because we have no government armed with power capable of contending with human passions, unbridled by morality and religion, avarice, ambition, revenge, and licentiousness would break the strongest cords of our Constitution as a whale goes through a net. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. And that's John Adams' letter to officers of the Massachusetts Militia, 1798. How about that one, Chuck? This is a related. So that's sort of the idea that you expressed, right? So here's the next one. We are establishing an all-time world record in the production of material things. What we lack is a righteous and dynamic faith. Without it, all else avails us little. The lack cannot be compensated for by politicians, however able, or diplomats, however astute, or by scientists, however inventive, or by bombs, however powerful. That's John Foster Dulles. And then, of course, I throw in Dave Mustaine. It is a fatal illusion to think that evil ever dies. Dave Mustaine, Fatal Illusion, off of the album Dystopia by Megadeth. So here's another one, Alexis de Tocqueville. This is sort of in the area that Chuck was saying about. Liberty cannot be established without morality, nor morality without faith. And later in the same work, despotism may govern without faith, but liberty cannot. And that's from Alexis de Tocqueville on Democracy in America. I got a Thomas Aquinas. So you see how it's organized? So it kind of flows. These ideas are connected. Now we're talking about ideas that are separated by centuries, but they're coherent. And these are all of my favorite, like people that are saying them are people that I like and I agree with, that kind of flavor the book Prepare and my philosophy of the way I deal with things. And so I've collected these quotes from people that I respect, saying things that I think have meaning and are worthwhile, because there's big compendiums, there's big volumes of like quotes, dictionaries of quotes and things like that. But that's just a random organization by topic by, Marxists, and socialists, and atheists, and Catholics, and Christians, and, everybody from everywhere. So this will give you a coherent, just more of a meditation. And I think we need to do a little thinking. Oh, I got another one. See there? I should do this. I brought it down. As I talk, I think. Me talks, me thinks. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so here's one. I love this. Okay, so here's another good quote. Ready? Present. Share screen. Come on, where is it? Where we go? Is that it? Can you see there? Yeah, okay. Rarely do we find men who are willing to engage in hard, solid thinking. There is an almost universal quest for easy answers and half-baked solutions. Nothing pains some people more than having to think. And that's Martin Luther King Jr. in Strength to Love, 1963. So a lot of my work has been going into finding the actual source and the actual source documents, because a lot of these quotes, oh my God, the internet is just about useless nowadays, because there's so many things people want to sell you. So you click on this quotes and it's like, do you want a poster? You want a mug? You want a shirt? And there's a collection of quotes, and I don't know if that's actually the source. Did this person actually say it? And then, of course, there's some things that are like debunkers. Debunkers, is that a word? There's websites that say this is the source of the quote or this is not. Did this person actually say it? And I had a couple of those in there, and so I eliminated them, or I found the original. And sometimes I will say, oh gosh, I even found that the fact checkers, the people that are like going back and sourcing things, Bronca. We should just do a whole fake book of Bronca quotes that are all basically good wisdom about self-defense, but it's not actually his. We should just say attributed to. That would be good. We should do that, Andrew. It's funny. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Bronca, you're crushing it today, man. I love it. I wish you were on with me. We need to do a stream again sometime soon, because I'm bored, and so I'm doing this. So I put together this book out of this document I had. I think it's a great document. I want to share it with you. And then there was light. Oh, that reminds me. See, this is the thing. It never ends. It never ends. See, I keep thinking about things I want to add. So the book it's ready to it's on pre-order. You can get it on pre-order from my website. Autographed copies, softcover copies are available from pre-order from me right now. I will tell you, you can actually get the ebook right now. It's available right now for download. The Unexamined Life Isn't Worth Living. That is actually one that I thought about including, but I don't know if I did. I'm not sure. Let me look at that. That's a good question. No, I didn't include that. I did have that one there, but I deleted it for some reason. So there's a few things like that. There's a few things I deleted because I just didn't quite believe. Sometimes there's things that are said that are just not quite right. Yeah. Andrew is cranking. I wrote an article on that, not attorney Andrew. I should have put that one in there. Steve Gosney, right? I wrote an article on that. Socrates gets the good. Yeah, I think you're right. The unexamined life isn't worth living. I do have something similar though. Let me find that quote. That's a pretty good one. Let's see. What was that? Unexamined life is worth living. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff. You got to get this one. This one's great. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's an example. Let me show you this. This is kind of cool doing the research because I have these quotes assembled. And then, let me get it here. See if you can see this. Okay. The only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. Oh, thank you, Lady Law. $5 super chat. Thank you for all your knowledge. Well, you're welcome. And I love to share this stuff. Slidey Pie just showed up late. Just got to catch up. That's all right. You're here. Thank you, Lady Law Sandra. Yes, it's my pleasure. And the best thing you can do is get the book and read it and ponder it. Each one of these things is not meant to be little coins of phrases. It's meant to be pondered. Okay, so listen to this one. And this is an example of one that I had to work on because I had this as a Teddy Roosevelt quote. The only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. And this permeates our world. Everybody loves to throw stones and criticize. when I'm out there working and acting and doing and, adventure of life, right? Go out there and do and give yourself the permission to make a mistake. So he said this in 1900. Now in 1896, so that's 4 years before, Joseph Conrad published An Outcast of the Islands, which contained, well, it is only those who do nothing that make no mistakes, I suppose. But it's hard. And there's earlier sentiments that echoes backwards. So Roosevelt is the popular guy, and he says this, and everybody quotes him, right? But Joseph Conrad wrote Heart of Darkness. Love Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness, great, which Apocalypse Now was based on. So Theodore Roosevelt is echoing this. Lord of the Ree shows up over in Rumble, coming in hard with a Rumble rant of $5. And Lord of the Ree, good to see you. He says, ahoy, Gosney, got any H.L. Mencken quotes in there? I do not. And I got to say, these are a lot of my favorite authors. So here's see how I basically tried to echo this. Now, ideas, I will say Richard M. Weaver, Ideas Have Consequences, 1948. This book is the most cited book in my book. It's got so many great little snippets and quotations that, but look at this. Here's one of the quotes. The typical modern has the look of the hunted. That's a pretty good quote. Let's go down. I'll show you some more stuff. It's full of good stuff like this. This is great stuff, isn't it? Life is entrusted to man as a treasure which must not be squandered, as a talent which must be used well. That's Pope John Paul II, 1995. See there? So see how these kind of relate? Because remember here, what was this one before? A man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. And then life is entrusted to a man as a treasure which must not be squandered, as a talent which must be used well. Here's another John Paul quote. Darkness can only be scattered by light. Hatred can only be conquered by love. Isn't that cool? And then I go through Corinthians, which we all know about love, which is a marriage vow. Here's another one. Listen to this one. This is cool. There's a difference between a philosophy and a bumper sticker. And that's Charles Schultz and Peanuts. Isn't that great? And then here, okay, this one's for Danielle. Danielle, are you still in there listening? This one's for you, because I actually thought about you on this one when I included this. And Robert A. Johnson is one of my favorites, right? And he says, measure yourself by your best moments, not by your worst. We are too prone to judge ourselves by our moments of despondency and depression. Because I remember you were so hard on yourself. And this is the thing. We always get down on ourselves. And this is talking to me too. This is why Danielle and I relate, because we're both in the same boat. But measure yourself by your best moments, not by your worst. We're too prone to judge ourselves by our moments of despondency and depression. Isn't that great? Robert Johnson. And then here's more Robert Johnson. Danielle. See, this book is full of all my favorite stuff. And this is the thing. There's a lot of quotes out there, but these are ones that are handpicked by me. And so if you like me and you like the way I come at things, this is why I'm doing it. Here's the object of life is not happiness, but to serve God or the Grail. All of the Grail quests are to serve God. If one understands this and drops his idiotic notion that the meaning of life is personal happiness, then one will find that elusive quality immediately at hand. And that's from He. Let's read this one again. This is so important for people out there. So important. The object of life is not happiness, but to serve God or the Grail. All of the Grail quests are to serve God. If one understands this and drops his idiotic notion that the meaning of life is personal happiness, then one will find that elusive quality immediately at hand. Isn't that amazing? That's a beautiful statement, man. It's so great. Andrew's crushing it. Andrew, you are on a comedy routine today. This is Andrew has got the wit. He has got his, and smart people have wit, and Andrew is very smart, and I love being around Andrew. So isn't that great? This is some great stuff. Let me see if I can find some other ones. Okay, here's a little set. Let's see if this one is you need to get this. Isn't this good stuff? Okay, here we go. Can a mortal ask questions which God finds unanswerable? Quite easily, I should think. All nonsense questions are unanswerable. C.S. Lewis in A Grief Observed, 1961. I love that. All nonsense questions are unanswerable. If you ask a nonsense question, then you're going to there's no way to answer that, right? So can a mortal ask questions which God finds unanswerable? Quite easily. Okay, so then we add to that. Now we go down here to old Rene Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Everybody knows that quote. That's Rene Descartes, 1637. Now let's go to the next page here. So now we've got the great St. Thomas Aquinas. And he says, that which is proposed to be believed equally by all is equally known by all as an object of science. Such are the things of which are faith simply. Consequently, faith and science are not about the same things. St. Thomas Aquinas, Summa Theological, 1274. So this is, listen to this. So you got to think about, this is a book to be savored. Every word is these little vignettes. You look at them, you read them, and you ponder them. That which is proposed to be believed equally by all is equally unknown by all as an object of science. Such are the things which are of faith simply. Consequently, faith and science are not about the same things. That's so important. That's such an important concept. People think they conflate. They say, I am science. There's science, right? Oh, Lord of the Ree. Is that another? Are you Lord of the Ree? What are you doing rumble ranting me? Well, thank you very much. Lord of the Ree, $5 rumble rant. Here he goes. H.L. Mencken says, is the guy who said the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. Well, and see, that may be, but I don't know if I'm down with that quote. I mean, that's not a quote that Ghazni would say. All right. So these are quotes that Ghazni, like, where am I coming from? As you know, when I write Prepare, and when you read what I'm doing and you read my work, I want you to know kind of the way I'm thinking and I'm sharing. And if you're a fan and you watch my stuff, then this is sort of source. These are like people that I listen to and people that I trust and source and think about, that get my mind thinking. And that's an interesting thought, and it may or may not be true, and we could have a debate on that. So here we go. Let's see. He says, faith and reason are like two wings on which the human spirit rises to the contemplation of truth. And God has placed in the human heart desire to know the truth, in a word, to know himself, so that by knowing and loving God, men and women may have come to the fullness of truth about themselves. Okay, so this is in 1998, St. Paul. Isn't that nice? And then let's see here. If I can move down a little bit. Samuel Taylor Coleridge. You got to think about this. Is deep thoughts. This is not easy read. This is something you have to really got to really, think about. That's the thing, you see. Bye-bye, North Korean trollbot. It has been my object, an unquenched desire to kindle young minds and to guard them against the temptations of scorners by showing the scheme of Christianity, though not discovered by human reason, is yet in accordance with it. that link follows link by necessary consequence, that religion passes out of the ken of reason only where the eye of reason has reached its own horizon, and that faith is then but a continuation, even as the day softens away into the sweet twilight, and twilight hushed and breathless steals into the darkness. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, 1817. Okay, so let's look at this. It has been my object, an unquenched desire to kindle young minds. I love this, right? It appeals to old Gosney here, and to guard them against the temptations of scorners. Bye-bye, Russian trollbot. By showing that the scheme of Christianity, though not discoverable by human reason, is yet in accordance with it. That link follows link by necessary consequence, that religion passes out of the ken of reason only where the eye of reason has reached its own horizon, and that faith is then but a continuation, even as day softens away into the sweet twilight, and twilight hushed and breathless steals into darkness. That is a great quote. I love this. And see how it goes? See how the order here? Because we're talking about the integration of faith and science, right? Oh, man, that's a good one. Yeah, Lord of the Ree. Slidey Pie wants to know, do you have any new videos? Any new video? Lord of the Ree, if you don't know, is one of our folks. And he writes music. And I liked the direction of his last piece. He did a guitar piece he shared with me. So if you do. So I just love that. Oops, let me see where do we get that? Yeah, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Did we see that one? Did I have it? Yeah, this is it right here. Because see, all of these quotes kind of go to the same thing. And it addresses one of my big problems we have in our society, that we get these people that are they're all bought into this idea of science and faith conflict. And that's just not true. Let me see if I get any more. You get these good stuff. Are you guys enjoying this? I'm enjoying reading it because I've been working on this like the last 3 days. I've been working on this. I have a lot of this, and a lot of it came from where did this quote? So I had this, and then I just had Coleridge. So I had to track down the actual quote and the actual citation and the actual thing. So the source, the sourcing of this. Here's some Carl Jung. Looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. How about that? Carl Jung, letter to Fanny Bowditch, 1916. If you don't know, Carl Jung is one of the most intelligent people to have ever lived. And there's some Jordan Peterson quotes, but Jordan Peterson is a Jungian. Okay, so here's Lord of the Rings answer. I'm working on one song right now, but I've got some gaming content to put up in the meantime. Gaming content? Come on, work on your music. I would say that. Work on what inspires you. Follow your muse. Yeah, the Trollbot got abused. He got banned permanently. Here's the people, Zach throwing it in there. Hey, Zach, you said you'd be here, and you are. You're a man of your word. There is none so blind that he will not see, right? So Carl Jung, looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. That's great. Here's another one. So think about that. If you look outside yourself, if you are not inwardly focused, oh my God, Danielle, what are you doing? Hey, Danielle. Our grandiose self-worth rebels against any statements of limitation. Steve Gosney, who said that? Our grandiose self-worth rebels against any statements of limitations. Yes, I did say that. That was Prepare. Danielle's quoting Prepare back to me. I can't quote myself in a quote book now. Come on. You can read Prepare. I was thinking maybe I would include the great quotes into a Prepare, but I found out that it was 75 pages and it would not, I don't know, it wouldn't accommodate it. But yeah, thank you, Danielle. You're awesome. That's a great super chat. That made my night. I like that's pretty good. Our grandiose self-worth rebels against any statement of limitations. Oh, and I may get that. Let me see if I can find that quote. I'll show you kind of where I'm coming with this, because a lot of this I'm repeating what other people have said. You're funny. That was a good one. That was a good one. You got me on that one there, Daniel. Here's another one. Knowing your own darkness is the best way for dealing with the darkness of other people. Carl Jung. Okay, so I got to go back. I got to find. Let me see if I can find. I'll take it down and find it. We got 20 more minutes. All right, so 20 more minutes, and I'll tell you. So my new book is now available. It's called Great Quotes on Law, Faith, and Life, and it's a collection of great ideas that you can savor. Let's see here. Yeah, Slidey Pie. Has anybody watched Slidey Pie's Death Penalty? She's reading Death Penalty Desires. I'm watching it. I'm watching every one, man. Go back to Daniel's quote, because I'm going to find you something that's close to this. Let's see the limitations. Okay. Where might that be? I'll find it. Hold on. Okay. All right. So all right. You, Danielle, you see, I'm going to read the whole book by the time we're done. I can't do that. So here's what she's quoting myself back to me. All right. I get it. But maybe I should do an audiobook of this one. I love this one. So here you've got a fan, Slidey Pie. You got a fan in our chat. It's a nice community. There we go. So here is great quotes. This is part of the ethics portion. All right. You ready? This is for you, Daniel, right? We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Now, I think I do quote that in Prepare. I love that, because we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. You got to be careful what you do is habitual, because that will make you into who you are. But here it is. Humility is the solid foundation of all virtues. That's Confucius. And then here's another one. It was pride that changed angels into devils. It is humility that makes men as angels. And that's St. Augustine of Hippo. And then here's Chesterton. Right is right, even if nobody does it. Wrong is wrong, even if everybody is wrong about it. Here's another Chesterton. The real great man is the man who makes every man feel great. How about that one? Is that a good one? See, and this is, like I said, this is a collection of quotes that inspire me. And, it's a personal book. It's a personal book. I get it. And it may not be. Yeah, Chesterton is awesome. I do quote some Chesterton. Now here's Jordan Peterson, following kind of this same idea. Success, that's the mystery. Virtue, that's what's inexplicable. To fail, you merely have to cultivate a few bad habits. You just have to bide your time. And once someone has spent enough time cultivating bad habits and biding their time, they are much diminished. Very, very good. There's some real utility in gratitude. And see, in Prepare, Danielle's a Prepare expert, I think, on this. Gratitude and humility are my two things that I have to work on, and that have been the foundation. That's a good idea. Grandfather's son is a good idea. I thought about that, but I try not to be political here. I'm trying to be philosophical. There's some real utility in gratitude. It is also good protection against the dangers of victimhood and resentment. Your colleague outperforms you at work. His wife, however, is having an affair, while your marriage is stable and happy. Who has it better? The celebrity you admire is a chronic drunk driver and bigot. Is his life truly preferable to yours? And then, of course, the great C.S. Lewis, An Abolition of Man, which you all should know. These are my favorite books. We make men without chests and expect of the virtue and enterprise. We laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst. We castrate and buy and bid the geldings be fruitful. C.S. Lewis, Abolition of Man. And then Zach is adding in, the internet will be the death of us all. Quote by Benjamin Franklin. You see, and okay, let's keep this one up, Zach. You know what? Okay, I'll find this one too. You're gonna love this. This is all good stuff. This is all my favorite stuff. But I gotta find something. I don't want to read you the whole book because let's see here. I gotta know my. Maybe it's up here. I think it's up in Reason. I gotta find my chapter. See, I don't even know my own book, and that's terrible. I know it's in here. I know what it says. I just gotta find where I put it. Sorry, this is dead air, right? We've only got 18 minutes, so we'll do some more here. Okay, here's another interesting one. Okay, so let's look at politics. This is a good one. Let's see here where we are. Politics. Politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying all the wrong remedies. That's a good one. How about this one? Interesting to see how great ideas get reused. So this is me talking, actually. See, I intro some of these quotes. I'll give you a little intro. Oh, and Zach is smoking in from the super chatting, $5 super chat. Thank you, Zach. A horse, my kingdom for a horse. Some king without a horse. That's a different one. Never heard that one. Actually, that's a new one. Zach is coming in hot. Zach is an interesting guy. I don't know. You're an interesting. I don't have a quite bead on where you're coming from, but I always pay attention. So maybe that's good. Why am I on a Tom Street? Because I don't want to step on expert. The expert is, and Andrew is going to be landing on his plane soon. Yes, and Danielle, gratitude and humility are a huge deal. I learned this with loss and wins, mostly loss. Right, those are important. Oh, that's Richard III. There is some Shakespeare in here, so I will say there's a lot of good stuff. They're all the people that I admire, and I'm. Let me zoom in a little bit. Is that too much? Yeah, it's too much. Hold on. How's that? Yeah. So this is Groucho Marx, right? And so there's a little humor. There's just a little everything in here. Okay, here's now. So I'm saying here's like some of these quotes I intro like this. Interesting to see how great ideas get reused, and I've discovered this by editing this book and putting it together. Does it really matter who says the wisdom? For example, Ronald Reagan is known for saying, there is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. And that was in my repertoire of quotes, right, on my thing. But then, of course, I'm looking to cite it. I want to make sure I get it exactly right, right? And there is no limit to the amount of good. So that's what Reagan, I was going to put, that's the thing, and I was going to put Reagan. But then I was looking for it, and it's like, wait a second. Reagan said it, but there's more to it than that. There's a certain irony in crediting this quote to Reagan as Harry Truman. Harry Truman is known to say, it is amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. All right. But Truman said that. He says, but then again, it appears that this is derived from a Jesuit priest who said, the way to get things done is not to mind who gets the credit. And that was attributed to Benjamin Jowett in 1817, 1893. So there's sort of a question here, because I have sorted these by thinkers and people that I respect generally. I'm not going to put in Karl Marx quotes, for example. But then when I started sourcing them, I'm like, wait a second, some of these things aren't exactly attributed. So everybody says, they use that. So that's pretty good, right? So let's read a few more on these. Of course, I may be wrong, and this is related to what I think Zach was saying. Better to remain silent and be thought of a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt. Now, that's been attributed to Lincoln, Elbert Hubbard, Mark Twain, Benjamin Franklin, and Socrates. So I don't know who said this, but you've heard that quote. Better to remain silent and be thought of as a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt. And then they'll tack on somebody like that you think is smart, and then it has credibility. But does that detract? You see, so when I did the research on this Reagan quote, I found that it went way back before. It went to Truman, who went back to this priest. And then I'm like, well, does it matter? Does it matter? Because I think it's true that there is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. And I generally try to work that way. I try to bring everybody up and not be too braggadocio. But that's a failing. I tend to be a little ego, and that gets in the way. And so now here we go, Zach. It's important to source our information. 73.6% of all statistics are made up. And that's a quote directly from Plato, 427 to 347 BCE. See, so do you believe that? You see, you got to think. It's important to source our information. 73.6% of all statistics are made up, and Plato said that. See there, that's important. Let me bring it down, because I don't want to spoil the whole book. What do you think about my book? What do you think about my new book? So basically, we got a few more minutes here. We got like 15 more minutes. I want to tell you about what I'm thinking about doing. Hold on, let me drink. So I've got so much, I've written so much, and I've compiled so much over my career, my lifetime, and I save it. It's all on a hard drive or whatever, my thumb drive. And this one was kind of low-hanging fruit, because I'm like, I need to keep my brain occupied. And I'm going to take this great quote document that I've assembled over the last 14 years, and now I want to share it with you. So you get, it's sort of an addendum to prepare, or it's in that self-help type groupings of things, and it's not that expensive. It's at steveghazi.com, and the pre-orders are able to go. Well, Lord of the Ree coming in hot. He loves it. H.L. Mencken, and he says, I believe it is better to tell the truth than a lie. I believe it's better to be free than a slave, and I believe it's better to know than be ignorant. So let me put this in here. You see, here it is. There it is. See that? Thank you for the Rumble rant, Lord of the Ree. And this is a Rumble rant from Lord of the Ree. So he's sharing this. So he really likes Mencken. I believe it's better to tell the truth than a lie. Okay, so I'll do a truth. So I've actually thought about doing a whole book just on truth, because it's so important. It's so bloody important. I believe it's better to be free than be a slave, and I believe it's better to know than be ignorant. Now, are any of these things scientific? See, this is where the dichotomy between faith and science goes, because I believe is a statement of faith. So I believe it's better to be free than be a slave. Can that be proven scientifically? No, it cannot. It is a statement of faith. But yet I agree. I believe that. And that's the delineation between science and faith. And Zach coming in with a super chat, he says, Proverbs 17:28, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. So that quote is based on the Bible. Interesting. See there? Very good. Well, and we like to cover up the Bible. We don't want to really say we're doing it. There are Bible quotes, so in there we got that. PJ O'Rourke, there's an inverse relationship between the number of digits after the decimal and the accuracy of the study. Right on. I'm gonna share, because Lord of the Rings truth quote. I'm gonna go to my truth chapter, which is a very important chapter in this book, and I meditate on truth a lot, and it's important. It's very difficult. I was watching Geddy Lee's interview with Alex Lifeson, and they were talking about how when Neil Peart was at the end of his life, and Neil Peart was at the end of his life, and they consciously lied to protect Neil. And I thought about that. Was interesting. It was an interesting admission and just statement of directness from Geddy Lee. Hold on. Okay, let's see. We'll do a little bit more, and then we're going to wrap it up here tonight. Oh, before we go into truth, but we'll wrap it up that way. But I want to tell you. So I'm thinking. See, I kind of think I need to get this book done, Death Penalty Designs, before I start my new job. Death Penalty Designs, maximum due process. The problem is to do it. It's already so much is written already. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to work on this to keep my brain occupied. And then I'm also going to work some on my fantasy novel. The fantasy novel, I have an idea for another character that I want to put in there, and I need to flesh some stuff out. But that's the creative energy kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like the muse. This is more workmanlike. This is more like the quotes book, and this book is more workmanlike. But what happens is by working on these kind of more mechanical, technical type stuff, the nonfiction, the legal stuff, the inspiration comes. And that's how, Death Penalty Desires came out, because I was getting done with that death penalty appeal brief. But I had all this steam and energy and creativity that was not being expressed. So I think what I might do is that, and I think I might try to get something. It won't be exactly what I was looking to do, which was do a training manual for capital appellate lawyers. Instead, it might be more of a critical assessment of Florida's death penalty statute in a very methodical way. I think I'm going to do that. This will keep my brain busy and occupied while I'm waiting for my new job. Okay, so let's do a little bit more. All right, you ready? Are you enjoying my quotes book? I'm really glad. I want to get it out there for you to have. This is the thing. I've talked with who was it? It was Andrew Legal Mindset about this, saying you should do a book on this, or you should do a book on that, and sell it and be a product. But I don't control how. It's like inspiration drives me, the muse drives me, and it just comes out. I mean, it's not like I want to do a book on this and it's perfectly marketed. I just write them because they're there and they're ready to do. Prepare quotes book. I love it. You're great. Well, you've got Prepare. Prepare is I almost think I might integrate the quotes book into Prepare. I integrated the automatic gardening book into Prepare, into the next edition. So I might just fold it into like a 2.5 or a 3.5 edition of Prepare or something. I don't know. It's all me. I can do what I want. You'll help. Yes. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, you're sweet. Yeah. Highlight. What's your favorite quotes from Prepare? And Slidey Pie. Okay. So Slidey Pie has an opinion. Here's Slidey Pie's opinion. Tell me what you guys think. For $2 Rumble Rant, she says, keep going. You can't dictate your stream to other people's streams. Yeah, well, yeah, but I want to go over and play. I want to go play with the expert. You don't watch the expert? Okay, well, I'm just having fun. This is the book promo. This is my book launch stream. It's available for pre-order now. You can get it online. You can download it right now from stevegosney.com. So it's available and downloadable. And the pre-orders, get the pre-orders in, because the pre-orders will be probably fulfilled within 2 weeks, because I'm done here on June 20th. So they will be to me and shipped out to you before June 20th. So it's right around the corner if you want to get the book. And it's only $10. So I made it, and it's one of these, it's like this size book. It's like this size, it's not a big book. It's 75 pages or, so 10,000 words about that. Real easy, but it's a thoughtful book. It's one that I want to get you to think. And we're going to think about the most important of all topics. And some people brought this up in my chat about truth. So look at this one here. Bring this up a little bit. Can you see that? Truth is the foundation of all knowledge and the cement of all societies. That's John Dryden, 1692. Now, this is what's amazing. This is what Jacob Castro come in with the hot sup savages. I think I've heard that before, Jacob. So this is one of the things that I think is really cool, because I have a coherent philosophy and way to go about things, and what resonates with me and what doesn't. And it's fascinating that these quotes span such a large swath of time and yet still make sense. Now, obviously, some of these are going to be translations, because some of them, I'm sure, were not written originally in English. But truth is the foundation of all knowledge and the cement of all societies. Okay, that's great. And then here's I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. George Washington attributed. I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. And George Washington, to me, is the greatest. I think he's probably the greatest man to have ever lived. Oh, and what's Danielle coming in hot with a $5 super chat? Packaging your troubled past into a book clears the way from yesterday's baggage, Gosney. This is good. You're making me blush, Danielle. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. What do you think? I like this. Packaging your troubled past into a book clears the way from yesterday's baggage. That is true. And I'm actually also working on putting some more chapters in my autobiography. It hasn't been updated in a while. So here's another one. Zach is coming in. We live in a generation that can explain everything, but can live very little of it. Old preacher. That's pretty good. Thank you, Danielle. Very kind. Yeah, she says, read, prepare. Yeah, prepare is kind of my philosophical masterwork. But I'm really this is my new quotes book, so it's my new toy, and I'm playing. So let's see what else we got here in the old. Hold on a second. In the old, there's lots of stuff here. So, okay. So yeah, George Washington, greatly admire. Again, these are people that I admire. It's not just random folks. It's quotes that I like, but it's people I admire, thoughts that really inspire me, that kind of fortify my philosophy. And this is attributed, so I couldn't find the direct quotes, but that is consistent with George Washington that I know. He's a hard one to quote, actually. No man has enough good memory to be a successful liar. There's another attribution. So there's a few attributions here. Yeah, Abe Lincoln. Okay, and here Zach is commenting. Oops. I have a book of just Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, I think, is a great figure. He's one of those people that you just read him, and it's just amazing what the guy had to deal with. Oh, yeah, that's right. George Washington's letter to the Toro Synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island is excellent. Excellent. Very good. Oh, let's see here. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right, so that's good. All right, let's keep going. How many legs does a dog have if you have to call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. Now, it's interesting. This quote, I've been trying to find, maybe this will be like edits. I'll have a little, 1.02 2 or something like that. When I find the actual, I worked hard to find this attribution. I will tell you that this quote that's been attributed to Abraham Lincoln has been pushed down and punished in our hyper political environment that we live in. Sadly. Why do you think that is? Yeah, that's good. Why do you think that is? Yeah, here's Zach. You may all go to hell, and I will go to Texas. Davy Crockett. There's actually rumors in my family that we are distantly related to Davy Crockett. Oh, no, not Davy Crockett, Daniel Boone, because he was from Kentucky. But we've never been able to find the connection. He's from the area of Kentucky a lot of my family lived. But that's a good one. Thank you for the super chat. You may all go to hell, and I will go to Texas. So why do you think that the media companies are trying to suppress the statement by Lincoln? How many legs does a dog have if you call it his tail a leg? 4. Saying it's a tail does not make it a leg. And then, of course, here we have that sort of an adaptation of this. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, right? That's great. And then here's George Orwell. The enemy of clear language is insincerity. George Orwell in Politics of the English Language, 1946. You see, so all three of these ideas are basically saying the same thing in different ways. Isn't that fascinating, though? And this has to do with our confusion. And of course, Danielle's here, and she's a fan of Prepare. And I talk about this, about how words are symbols. We use words to express and describe things, right? But the expression, the descriptions are just words. They're symbols. They are not the actual thing. But we get so wrapped up in language that language is a lie. That we lie to ourselves using language and using the symbols, right? So these are good statements to kind of make sure you clarify what is truth, that you aren't lying to yourself by using words to describe things and changing words and adding descriptions and putting things in categories, because words themselves are mechanisms by which we lie, but they're also mechanisms of symbols by which we describe the world. Yeah, 2 + 2 is 5. Truth is the enemy, right? These are some great quotes. Isn't that a great quote about truth? Oh, and then let's finish. Well, I don't know, finish. This is really great. Every war when it comes, or before it comes, is represented not as a war, but as an act of self-defense against a homicidal maniac. In our political speech and writing are largely the defense of the indefensible. But if thought corrupts language, language can also corrupt thought. All the war propaganda, all the screaming and lies and hatred comes invariably from people who are not fighting. Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidarity to pure wind. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. On the manipulation of language for political ends. We have now sunk to the depth at which restatement of the obvious is the first duty of intelligent men. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. In times of universal deceit, telling the truth will be a revolutionary act. That's George Orwell, man. I'll tell you, is that powerful? Is that powerful or what? That's a great quote. And come on, you got to admit that's a great quote, right? Okay. And now, should you think that Orwell is prescient, which he is, Orwell was great. And he said that was a powerful statement. Check this out. So here's what I've tagged on the end of it. It was ever thus. The beginning of reform is to resume calling things by their proper names. Confucius, circa 500 BC. Okay, you see what I mean? This is so it's meant to kind of show you that these ideas and these thoughts are universal and go back. for quite a ways in life. I'm just sharing my thoughts. So what do you think about my new book? You like my new book? Well, it's available now. It's very inexpensive. It's $10. First edition signed first edition signed soft covers are available for pre-order now at stevegosney.com. I think you might be able to get them actually in your hand through Amazon now. I'd rather you go through stevegosney.com, but on Amazon. Oh, and Lord of the Rings, $1 Rumble Rant says he just pre-ordered his copy. Thank you, Lord of the Rings. He's my fan. Lord of the Rings is always in here swinging. So, yeah, it's a document I want to share because I've got these resources. I'll tell you another thing I've got. Okay, I'm gonna lay it out for you. Okay, I have it here. I have another huge book in the. I actually put it together in a book, and it is something I've assembled for the last 14 years. It's an outline of Florida law, all Florida criminal law in a huge outline. It's over 300 pages. But to organize that and to work through it, it would be so difficult. I have it and it's organized somewhat, but the amount of work it would take to put together. But that one I may be able to utilize in my next job. So I think I'm going to set that aside and not work on that. I think I need to work on death penalty designs, get this into something that I can put out, that I feel comfortable putting out, that actually adds to the debate and is coherent and gives you an understanding. And then as well as the fantasy novel, right? So I'm gonna work on those things. All right. Well, thank you very much for showing up, and thank you for all the Rumble Rants and Super Chats. Thank you to the replay crew. And here's what we're going to do: we're going to go over to our expert, and you just pop in for a second, hit the like button, say Gosney Raid. All right. I'll see you around. God bless you all. Thank you.